Welcome to the Vendetta Effect.
Welcome back to Vendetta Effect, and let's start by introducing our players this week, and let's start with M.
Hi, I'm Em, and I play Sawyer.
Yay. And Devin.
I'm Devin, and I play Mason.
And Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob, and I play Spencer.
And Webby.
I'm Webby, and I play Doc.
Yay, alright.
Yay.
So, last time you guys were dealing with the Minx and her dealings with some nasty, nasty people in the middle of New York. You got done with all of that, and now you are back home. And as you are back at the office, Tabby,
Yes.
you get a phone call at your desk, and it is a call from one of the contacts that you have across in Europe.
Correct.
And he says, Sawyer,
Yes.
how are you doing?
Pretty good. Is there something urgent?
Yeah, I need you to track down a shoot, what are they called? It just left my head. One second. Not art dealer. What's an archaeological dealer instead of? Yeah, what the fuck did I just do here? Archaeology
I'm the
dealer.
king of New York.
No, God, here we go. Thank you so much. Antiquities dealer. There we go. Thank you. God,
Oh, there we
hell.
go.
Okay, so
Archaeologist, John? You're like they deal in archaeologist way? Antiques
No,
deal
no,
with furniture.
antiquities.
No, but you said
Antiquities.
you were going through your thought process. You said they sell archaeological stuff. I'm like, no, they don't.
Well, antiquities dealers do.
Not antiques dealers. Antiquities.
Yeah,
dealers.
antiquities is different.
Okay, there we go.
Antiquities is antiques, but much, much older.
Yes, or they can be all sorts of stuff. They don't necessarily have to
Yeah.
be furniture as such. All right, so okay, back at that now. Yeah, I need you to talk to an antiquities dealer from Belgium.
Okay. I can do that. Where
I
are
mean,
they?
Well, his name is Pierre Drapeau. He is in Paris. I can give you his address if you want to go see him. But
All right. Yeah, I can go all the way to France for some errand that I don't know why it's important. That's fine. That's totally fine.
the guy kind of pauses on the phone. He's like, well, first of all, because I need you to track down some papyrus for me. And it has to do with this discovery in Egypt about 10 years ago of some writings that apparently are Christian in origin.
Okay.
So this guy supposedly has copies of something called Coptic documents or Bibles. And yeah, apparently it's linked to some of the stuff that you guys found in Korea a few years back.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now you have my interest. All right, yes, I can go talk to this man for you. I'm sorry for being so rude. It's been a rough day.
Fair enough. Yeah, just clear it with your boss, because you know how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I do know how it goes sometimes.
And he says, great, thanks, I appreciate it. I got to catch a plane to New Delhi by this afternoon, so I will chat with you later.
Yep, chat with you later.
And the line goes dead.
Wow, I really messed that up. I say to nobody.
Uh, girl sitting across from you looks at you and says, "What did you mess up?"
I was just very rude. You shouldn't
Oh.
be rude to your contacts. Rule number 1, be nice. Be nice to them. Unless
Fair
you have
enough.
to be mean, Remember that. And I sort of give
Right.
her a look, like waggle a finger, and then I get up and I walk over to Bradford's office.
Yeah. Okay.
That's his name.
And she sort of smiles and kind of notes that down on her piece of paper.
Sorry. Go ahead.
And I assume you walk to Bradford's office.
I do indeed, sir.
Okay, so when you walk in, Bradford is looking at some notes on his desk and a book that he's got spread open and is underlining things in, and he looks up at you and says, "Yeah, what is it?"
I need to go to Paris.
He kind of squints and says, "Why?"
I have to talk to a antiquities dealer, sorry. And he has some things that are related to the things that happened, back in Korea a few years ago.
Do you want to take someone with you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Do you want the translator or do you want Mason?
I would like the translator, please.
All right. And he taps on an intercom and says, "Smiley, go get... names are, like, escaping me today.
Is it
Spencer."
Spencer?
And she says, "Yes, boss, right away."
The one I forget is a
And-
redhead.
Well, fair enough. Audrey Harris. Spencer's a redhead too, to be fair. So,
No, that's what I was talking. I was talking about Spencer.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. So,
It's a deep
Smiley knocks on your door, Spencer.
What is it?
The boss wants to see you.
Oh, all right. I'll be right there.
Excellent. And she walks away. I assume you're fairly shortly leaving to go there. I see you moving, so yep. Okay.
I passed by Tabby, who's still at her desk and not in the office, but sure.
Nice.
Oh, he's not even in here. Smiley, where is he?
Come on,
Where
theater
is-
of the mind, people. Theater of the mind.
Actually, where is he? I thought he was sitting there.
Oh no, have we
He's
lost Bradford?
He's in Doc's dungeon.
Oh, that's right. He went to talk to Doc. That was his mistake. Okay. All right, we'll move him back.
There we go. Apparently, it is very important that people be exactly where they are on the screen.
Yeah,
Alright.
apparently. Yes, because,
It
people
is.
listening, they
I
need
have
to
no,
know this.
I have
See
no
that.
imagination.
Yeah. I mean, your imagination needs to be stimulated. All right. So you come into the office and Bradford says, "You remember that project you were doing on the Korean documents?"
Yes.
According to Tabby, one of her contacts is saying that they have some information, or at least an antiquities dealer in France has some, and she'd like you to come with her.
Sure, I can do that. This is related to the museum piece that we do?
Possibly, we don't know. That was the suggestion by the agent.
Very interesting.
It is
And-
indeed very interesting, and I don't speak French or, the language that you were working on translating. And if it has something to do with that, I think it would be best if you came along.
Does Spencer speak French?
He does.
Oh, good,
Oh,
thank
good.
goodness. Otherwise,
We've
I was about to
established
say,
this
'cause-
before.
Because I know Mason definitely does, so that's why I was asking about him.
yeah,
So,
no,
okay.
I literally just assumed that he spoke French, and if he didn't, that would have been really, really funny.
Awkward, yeah. Or funny works too, yeah. Whoopsie, sorry. All right. So with that, Bradford says, "Well, I'll have tickets and passports ready for you shortly. So I guess be ready to go within the next day or so."
I'm sorry, I deafened myself.
Oh, he says he'll have passports and tickets for you in
All right.
the next day or so.
Thank
she
you,
took a
Bradford.
ice pick to her eardrums.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is it just the two of us again, or are we bringing the whole team?
I mean, do you want to bring anybody just in case we need to smash some heads? I don't
Well,
think we'll.
I think
we'll
you
need
got
anybody
that covered, don't you? That's kind of your specialty.
Yeah, that's what he was gonna say. Like, smashing heads is really your department, Tabby. It's up to you. You're kind of in charge of this one, so.
No, of course not. Nope, it's fine. We can. Well, you're right. I can smash some heads, so it's okay. We don't need anybody else. We got this, man.
She's the
What do you-
hammer. I'm like the scalpel.
I'm the precision instrument who goes in
Actually,
and cleans up.
I would be the scalpel.
No, you.
Throwing that out there.
You just cut people apart. Like you.
Nice.
Didn't your last combat encounter involve you running up to a dude and sticking a needle in his neck?
That wasn't
it
a combat
kinda did.
encounter. That's what I did to Spencer.
Oh my goodness.
But in combat, Doc uses blades.
Okay.
I don't use guns. So
No. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm not just
I
a
do.
regular hammer.
I do.
I'm a firing hammer. Or pin or whatever it is, you know.
Okay then. With that, Bradford nods at you both and says, "Well, be sure to take care of yourselves. And if you need anything when you're over there, just call me."
Wonderful. Yep, we will definitely call you. It's okay
And he smiles and says, he looks up actually at Spencer and he says, "So what happened with that Korean stuff? Did you get anywhere with it?"
I think I found pretty much a working library or alphabet, so I could probably read it if it's the same thing.
Okay. Well, how's your Coptic?
Coptic.
Yeah.
It's fine. We established that when I went to see the museum pieces in Germany.
Okay, that's good. Because from what I understand, this is related to the discoveries that were made back in 45 of those scrolls. So apparently they're written in Coptic Egyptian. So just to be clear.
Shouldn't be a problem. I was able to read the Coptic in the German museum when we went there.
Excellent.
After the, werewolves.
Fair enough. Good idea. All right. Well, I won't keep you here any longer. If you need anything, of course, go speak with Zed. Otherwise, we will talk to you when you get back.
Sounds like a plan.
And he smiles and says, "Very good. Thank you." And while he's doing that, a gentleman comes in from the European Bureau. And he says, "Boss, I have some information that I need to give you and Mason, if you don't mind." And Bradford looks over at you, Spencer, and says, "Can you send Mason in here?"
Yep.
Thanks, Spencer. Okay. So just for Rob's sake, we'll move them out. Okay. All right. So as you walk in, you see the European bureau chief standing there, and he has a look on his face which does not look good, I guess. And he hands you a what looks to be a telegraph, and on it is a note about problems in Egypt, basically. And he says the issues with the British and the Egyptians looks ready to blow up. But in the meantime, they are threatening some rather drastic action in the Sinai. So we're not quite to full-out problems, but things could get rather messy quickly. And he looks at you. As he's saying that, Bradford looks at you, Mason, and says, "I don't think we'll need you guys to go there, but if we need to make any extractions, I will let you know because we may have some people that need to get out quickly. Will you be ready to do that?
Yeah.
Good. And he looks down at his notes and then looks back up again and he says, "Here." And he hands you another document. This one has top secret stamped at the top of it. And it's from a U.S. government agency. And it says something to the effect of, it is a document about some sort of find that was made in the Egyptian desert. And it mentions a guy by the name of Pahor Lebib. And it basically states that he found a discovery of an ancient temple in the deserts near where Memphis used to lie, and that there was some pretty exciting stuff found there. And he looks at you and says, "We've had enough things go missing over the years. That may be something I'll need you to check out at some point down the road."
Nod.
And he says, "Thanks. The other two are going to head up to Paris. If they run into any trouble, I'll be sure to have you and Doc on quick standby."
Sounds good.
Cool. Thank you. I will chat with you later. And he lets you walk out. And as you're doing that, nice. Doc, what are you doing currently?
Cleaning out cells.
Nice. Okay. While you're doing that, you hear a knock at your door.
I'm sorry. I hear a knock at my door.
Yep.
Okay, you keep cutting out. That's fine.
Okay. Sorry.
Ivan, door.
He says, "Yes, boss," and walks over to the door, and Zed is standing there.
Ivan, who is it?
It's Zed, boss. Doc, what are you doing?
I am currently cleaning, Zed.
I have a test I need you to run, if you would be so kind.
Regarding?
A bit of new technology. I need you to see how it works in practice. And with your talents, it might work well.
Zed, isn't technology more your field of expertise?
Certainly, but this particular technology piece is, shall we say, something of a human interaction.
Okay,
I figured
go
you'd be
on.
interested. It's a, he pulls it out and he pulls out a device which, it's probably, I'd say about 2.5 feet long, about 4 inches in width. It is black, and at the end of it are 2 metal prongs. And he says, "I need you to test this on something if you'd like. Have an opportunity to give it a go. But I would like your professional opinion, I guess, is what I'm asking."
Okay, now my I assume that this end I'm supposed to touch to a subject, and then what?
No, not that. What you do here is, and he looks down and he holds it and he kind of points at it and says, "If you look, there's a triggering button on the bottom. When you press this, you'll see how this there's a separation at the front. This prod then moves towards the individual, at which point it causes electricity to flow through it.
Is it fatal?
It could be, I guess, at the right setting.
And where's the settings on this? Or is it...
And then he kind of moves it around a bit, and he says, well, I put a dial here, and you can see I have numbered them. So 5 is the top setting, so of course that would be problematic. And 1 is the bottom setting, so it should be fairly obvious.
Doc dials it down to, say, 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then he points it at Ivan and presses the button.
Okay. Can you roll me a fleshy roll, please?
That is not one of Doc's things. This is why people don't come to Doc with any type of weapon like this.
I'm just going to say the difficulty is low. There you go.
Oh, that's good.
Basically you hear this loud pop sound, and this... Well, you know the old cartoons where they have the little thing where the guy pushes a gun and a little punching fist comes out and hits the other guy across the way?
Right.
Well, imagine kind of that, but at the end of these prongs. And it just basically almost stabs into Buddy. And this huge electric current just runs through it. And you just see Ivan just go... And he immediately falls to the floor. And the points are smoking.
Okay, well, I let go of the button, obviously.
And Zed's like, still a bit overamped, I would assume.
You murderer.
Well, seems good for stunning targets or cooking them, depending on how high you turn up this dial, Zed.
Yes, I might have to make some adjustments to the heat of the weapon. It seems to be cooking at quite a high temperature, to put it into culinary terms.
Doc will hand it back to Z.
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes a bucket of water and just pours it on Ivan.
Ivan is like, his hair is standing on end, and like his ears have got like a little black smoke almost coming out of them. And his like, all of his extremities have like blackened whole like marks around them. And he's just like, and he kind of shivers every once in a while. And he doesn't say a word. He's just like, but
I'm going to help him to his feet. And then I'm going to just give him one of those pat on the shoulders, and not smiling. I'm just going to look at him and say, you're going to be okay, right, Ivan?
And he's like, and you kind of see his head sort of nod, but you're not sure if it's nodding or shaking.
Well, I take it as a nod. And then I tell him to, I don't know, start cleaning up the operating tables. And then I'm just going to wander back into my cells.
Okay, as soon as you turn your back, he just kind of, his eyes roll up like he's the Undertaker and goes splat on his face again. And Zed goes, yes, definitely a bit too high. I will definitely have to make some adjustments.
On your way out, Zed, can you just send in one of the interns to keep an eye on Ivan for a little bit?
Certainly.
I like how Zed doesn't have an issue with anybody except for Rob's character. Like he's like polite to everybody else. He's so snappy with him.
And he then heads back to his office, and a young man comes in, finding the passed out assistant on the floor, helps him back up and kind of sits him at a chair, and then rushes off to call a doctor.
He doesn't exactly like me either, though, you know.
Oh, he's going to call a doctor. Oh, this is going to be interesting.
So, well, it's an internal doctor, to be fair.
That's fine. It's still going to be interesting.
You
think Doc's ever allowed any doctors into his office?
Okay.
He is the doctor.
I would laugh if Doc was not actually a licensed doctor and we just call him Doc. He's really not a doctor at all. He's just like a mental patient who escaped.
Listen, I might not be licensed, okay? But that does not mean that I'm not practiced. Saying.
That's the most horrifying thing he's ever said.
Right?
Listen.
Right? Is that not the most horrifying thing? Right. Like, don't worry, I'm not licensed, but I'm quite practiced. Like, what? I changed my mind. I do not consent. I do not consent.
He's like one of those.
It doesn't matter.
Doc's one of those. Doc's one of those ones. He's like, he hands you the consent form. He has you sign it. Then he tells you what it is. And as you go to reach for it back, he pulls it out of your hand and be like, "No, you already signed it."
Or it's like as you're like slipping the morphine in my system with the needle. Like I don't consent. I don't consent.
Yeah, I just have this vision of Doc as being like those old West kind of doctors, where it's like he might have read a book. And that's kind of, his whole thing is, here's some whiskey that'll knock you out. And
that's the thing is,
operating.
Doc was a military doctor. Do you think he actually opened up his own office afterwards? No. He worked for the government.
Uh-huh. Exactly. All right. So with that, we will move along. Basically the next day, unless there's anything anybody else would like to do, go procedure with or anything. What?
The second the doctor shows up, Doc chases him out.
Okay, fair enough.
Just yelling and screaming that he is a doctor, Ivan will be fine, and to send an in here.
Uh-huh. They're pretty much intimidated by you from the off. And I'm guessing the second even sort of got close to the door, you were yelling at him.
Oh, yeah.
And he just turned on his heels and left about as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Okay. So bearing all that in mind, you guys are ready to get to the airport and get on your plane. You're given the usual stuff unless you want anything specifically in addition.
Nope, I'm all good with what I have.
Yeah, that's good too.
Okay.
Good.
So with that, you guys,
is, of course, my gun and my camera.
your supercharged sized camera. I'm assuming by now you've probably got something smaller.
Her Geiger counter and her gas mask.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's got to have a briefcase full of stuff. So I think the stand behind it, curtained camera is probably no longer a thing.
I'm surprised Z hasn't invented a camera gun for her.
Well, I mean, he's got
where she's trying to be, undercover, and she's like, "Oh, let me take a picture of you." Bam.
Nice. That is actually a good idea. I like it.
That's a fantastic idea.
She does, however, have mini cameras and things that he's given her. So she has ones that hide up in her sleeves and such, so that she could pull it out and take quick photos. And she does have a Derringer.
I like how whenever the two of them go out, they're always so mismatched, because she's got combat boots and a big backpack with guns and Geiger counters and gas masks. And he's in a business suit with shiny shoes and a top hat and a case.
He's got a tiny little briefcase. Yep. They are the epitome of the mixed couple.
It's like Rambo meets Kingsman.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you guys fly to Paris the next day. You arrive after a long flight, and you were put up in a small hotel just sort of on the south side of town, which is not very exciting, but it's reasonable. And you will have a meeting set up with this guy, and he is at a shop close to not very far away from some of the museums in town, just kind of down from Versailles. And
his name was Pierre Dupont, wasn't it, or something?
It was Pierre. Oh, I should have wrote this down. I would have had it properly. Dupont, I want to say.
Dupont?
Or Drapeau. Drapeau, that's what it was. It was Drapeau.
Okay. I was very close.
Yeah, I was close. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So, yes,
wanted
Pierre
to make sure
Drapeau.
so I wouldn't show up and just be like, "Hi, John, what's his name again?"
No, wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility of happening, so no problem. Pardon me. So, as you show up to his shop, unless there's anything else you guys want to do beforehand.
I sort of All right, so we know why we're here, Spencer, and what he has. So everything's gonna be fine tomorrow. Nothing's gonna go wrong. Yeah.
I don't like that you said that. That means something's gonna go wrong.
No, it'll be fine. That's why I'm saying it. So everything will be okay.
Stop saying it, Tabby. You're jinxing everything.
It's gonna fine. You want me to say it's gonna be terrible and I'm gonna have to kill somebody? Come on. What do you think?
Yes, because that's what you want, and you never get what you want. So
I don't like killing people. I do like,
Stabbing
intimidating them. Intimidating them.
Bro, it should be fairly simple. How about that? We'll leave it at that.
All right. Okay. I give him a thumbs up before we go inside.
All right. So, you guys, okay, so the next morning you head to the shop. You guys get to the store. It looks like a small bookstore. There is a gentleman with glasses. He has an old overcoat on, and he is standing behind the counter. He is looking at something under... he has sort of like one of those expandable extension things that you pull off a desk, and it can have like a magnifying glass and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And he's got one of those, and you can see him looking at some sheet of paper with it. And as you come in,
excuse me, Mr. Drapeau?
he looks up and he says, "Oui, madame. How may I help you?"
I am here about some papyrus that you have.
Papyrus.
Yes, with some...
You need to be a little bit more specific than that. I have lots of papyrus.
It's a very specific papyrus that I was told I could come here and see. Very recently by a man named... What's my contact's name?
I don't think you have that, so
Awesome.
You only know him by a code name.
That's great. That's awesome. I was
But
told
the
to come here,
name he gave you is Carter.
by a man named Carter, a friend of mine.
Oh, Carter. Oui, madame. I will pull it up right away. Just give me a few moments, please.
Okay. I sort of
And
look over at Spencer, like, if he comes out here with it, like I give him a look, and my look to him is if he comes back with a gun, we have to shoot him, but really it just looks like I'm glaring at Spencer. So
Spencer's already prepared for him to come back with a gun.
Okay.
He's like got his hand on his cane, like about to do the turny thing to make it a gun.
Which looks really suspicious because he's sort of very just aggressively holding his walking stick.
So this fella is probably in his 40s, kind of balding. He has
an older man. Come on, don't be so hard on yourself.
Wow, nice.
I'm
he
sorry.
has graying hair, and he has these big old thick Coke bottle glasses, and he goes into the back of the store, and he comes back out, and he's carrying in his hand these. Well, they're basically in a protective case, but you can see that it's kind of a clear plastic, and it has a bunch of kind of yellowy-looking paper in it. And he sets it on the table. And he says, "Yes, this is part of the Nag Hammadi collection that I was given a few months ago. It came from a monastery in Egypt.
I didn't know they had monasteries in Egypt. That's unusual.
Coptic Christians, they still worship Christianity in there. But as well, it was apparently originally given to them by some farmers who found it in a field in a container. Just from what I've been able to devise from reading some of it, it appears to be old Christian documents, possibly dating back to 2nd or 3rd century BC, or not BC, AD.
Yeah, Christian documents from BC. Is special.
That'd be impressive. Yeah, yeah. No, so he says AD.
All right. I sort of gesture for Spencer to take a look at him. Like, this is more your expertise than mine, Spencer.
Now, are they just like piled in a bag, or are they spread out so they're readable through the bag?
Well, it's a box. Basically, it's like a clear plastic box.
Okay.
You can read the top, but the rest of them are in a stack, basically.
Okay. I want to read these. Do I need to wear special gloves, or is there some way to turn the pages that's not going to damage them?
He says, yes, just here, one moment. And he reaches under the desk, and he pulls out basically a long instrument, which it's kind of like massive-sized tweezers to help pull sheets apart. And he says, as long as you're careful, I'm sure you'll be fine.
Thank you very much.
And he says, you're most welcome. If your government is interested in these documents, there is, of course, a price attached to them. I am not in the market for giveaways, shall we say.
May I look at a few pages first before we decide?
Indeed. Go ahead.
So, read the few pages.
Yeah. So as you start reading
Sorry.
What?
I said, we of course understand you're not a charity.
He smiles at that. He says, well, I do love helping the poor and the unfortunate. I am not in the business of being one, no. And he smiles at that, and he says, I will go make some tea if you would like.
I'll
Give
be
you a
very kind
chance
of you.
to be with the documents for a bit. And so he walks off, and still very much not very far away, so if you tried to run away, he'd know about it. But
if we tried to run with them, he would then have the gun. That
might be the case. You don't know how many others might be around, too. So, this is not a guy well known for his trusting nature. Let's just put it that way. So as you start to read, the very first document you start reading, it becomes very clear, is some strange sort of gospel. It has a lot of the same type of biblical imagery to it, but it has some very peculiar lines within it. And one of the things that it talks about is shul, and it continually mentions shul in it. And in one point, one of the apostles comes to Jesus and talks about the gates of shul and how they must be closed and how to keep out those that would enter in. And the idea that that there are people who are interested in entering these gates and trying to go into the other world. And it talks of archangels and demons and devils all fighting over this gate.
That is some Tower of Babel stuff right there.
Indeed. And yeah. And there's some commentary about something called the bringer of rain, and the bringer of light, and the bringer of dark, and the bringer of life, and the bringer of death.
Refresh my memory. What did the scroll from the golem say?
That's a good question. 1 second. I think it said something along the lines of "they are coming," without being too clear what that was.
Okay.
But I'd actually have to go listen to what I said exactly at the time. But I'm pretty sure that was something along that line.
I mean, this is all very interesting, Tabby. I'm sure the Bureau probably want to look at it. It's not anything super earth-shattering, unless there's some evidence to back it up, but probably want to purchase these.
So you think it's a good investment for the Bureau?
I'd say so.
I wonder how much he wants for them.
Well, I mean, ancient languages, I tend to overpay, so I'll let you decide.
All right. Well, we'll have to hear what his offer is and then negotiate.
So, after you've done reading and you're kind of discussing that, he comes back in and he looks at you both and says, well, do you feel they are legitimate?
They seem to be. I mean, it's definitely Coptic. The papyrus is old. I mean, I kind of would glance at Tabby. We could have Duck do some dating on it, or Zed, but as far as I can tell, they seem to be genuine.
Good.
Generally good enough for me.
I'm glad we are able to help one another. Certainly, if you need any contacts to prove it's the evidence of its dating, I can certainly pass you on to a few people in my line of work. But yes, I mean, normally with these things, with a private buyer, I would certainly have a very expensive flavor attached to it. But on this occasion, I'm willing to part with it for $20,000 US dollars, of course.
John, since he mentioned it, is there any kind of check I can do to make sure that it's genuine through the language?
Clever. Well, as far as you're concerned, it's as obviously it is exactly what he says it is. I mean, even if it wasn't, it is.
Yeah, I gotcha. Since I already said that, that's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, he puts his price down at $20,000.
I honestly think that it would be in your best interest for you to give it for 15.
Ah, Mademoiselle is a bargainer in her past life, I see. Possibly we can come to an arrangement, but I mean, at the same time, it is harsh to ask me to drop by $5,000. I mean, this is my living. I mean, I have to travel far and wide, and I have to meet so many different people.
15,000 is still a significant sum of money.
Yes, but
More
not
than
quite
I
as
did.
much as, say, 18,000.
I see you two are also a negotiator, bargainer, if you will.
Oh, in my line of work, my dear, I am very well
Always.
versed.
Why don't we split the difference at 17?
He puts his hand out and says, "You've got a deal, madame. You have a hard bargain built within you, don't you? I can see it."
Somehow I think I don't. And I shake his hand.
Smiles, and he says, "Ah, you are too hard on yourself. The KGB agents I sold the tablet to the other day, they got swindled." And he smiled at that. Piece I got out of Israel, which, to be honest, I don't even know if it's real. This, however,
Hey,
this is a good document.
Actually, tell us. Oh, snap! I just smacked my computer. Sorry. Could you actually tell us a little bit about these piece? Not necessarily the KGB agents themselves, but the piece you sold.
If
Out of Israel, you said?
Yeah, it was a document from, well, a tablet of clay that some purported man was talking about golems and things. It's just ridiculous. But
Spencer gives him like a twinkling look and says, "I don't suppose you took a rubbing of that tablet?"
He kind of wickedly smiles back. He says, "Monsieur, you hurt me. You would say I would keep back something I have sold a significant buyer? I am stunned, but for an extra 1,000, I might be able to get you a copy."
He looks at Tabby. Add them. Pay him.
And
I will let you have your asking price on that.
He smiles widely and he says, "One moment then." And he steps into the back and comes out with what looks to be a plaster cast of a tablet.
Nice.
And he hands it to you. He says, "I am resourceful, shall we say. I don't know, like I said. I
would certainly expect you to be.
I would not necessarily say I would not necessarily say he is. It is a true piece, but it does. You know what I mean? I got it from someone who I don't necessarily trust. It could be complete crap, but there you go anyway. And
well, whether it is or not, we appreciate it.
Yes, let's just say
smiles.
Gongs are a special interest of ours.
He smiles at you and says, "Ah, okay, very interesting. I will keep that in mind, Madame et Monsieur. If
Yes,
you
indeed.
ever need
anything
any
else,
more."
If anything else that looks credible comes up, just let Carter know.
I will, for sure. He is a good friend. He has served me well in trying to track down some items, so I definitely look forward to having a further conversation with him.
He's gonna start. Do you have a pencil and paper?
Certainly, monsieur. And he hands his piece of paper from his notepad and a pencil.
So I'm going to copy down one of the more common characters from the annual language, just one.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ones that shows up a lot, and I'm going to
Right.
turn it and hand it back to him. If you ever find anything with a symbol that looks like that, we would be extremely interested in it.
I see. Excellent. I can't say I'm familiar with this language, but should I see anything, I will definitely let you know.
Right. I think we're done here, Tabby, unless you have anything else.
I have absolutely nothing.
And the guy smiles and says, I look forward to hearing from you both again at some point.
I add a tip of $100 extra to whatever I gave him, by the way.
Oh, thank you, madame. You certainly did not need to do that, but I obviously appreciate it. And before you could take it back, it's long gone.
No, I wouldn't even try to take it back.
And he smiles and says, unless there's anything else, you may have a good day. I will speak with you again. It is now, my dear. It is now. And with that, he lets you take the case and the plaster cast.
I'm assuming I can't read the plaster cast, or can I?
It is in Hebrew, ancient Hebrew.
Okay.
And you can read bits and pieces of it, yes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was like we would have to fill it with something to get the actual language, or
no, it's like he's taken effectively what he did was he put it in like a mold.
Gotcha.
And then this is basically a plaster cast of the mold. So it's like as if you had the real document, but it's in plaster cast. Yeah.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Mm-hmm. And I assume unless there's anything else, you guys head back to your hotel, maybe go on a tour of Paris, or anything else that you're doing while you're there.
Spencer would definitely go on a tour of Paris.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I assume I've been before. It's nothing to me anymore. No, I'm kidding.
Wow, frequent flyer apparently. Yeah. I mean, you guys have been around the world a bit. You've seen some stuff. So, you know, I mean, it's...
Yeah, but never, like, any, like, touristy thing. So I guess I would go hang out with Spencer.
Fair enough. Okay, so you do that, and then I assume you will head back after that.
We're taking pictures with the work camera on top of the Eiffel Tower.
looking like a romantic couple, even though you're very much not. Yeah,
Not.
Exactly. And... all these people are like looking at you and going, wow, that's a different couple of people. Going and visiting the bridge where they put the locks on it and all that kind of stuff. The Louvre. And so you head back after that. So basically you're there for about maybe 3 days, give and take. And it probably takes, effectively with the flying, it'd probably be about 4 days to get back to the base. And as you arrive, Spencer Bradford walks up.
Call ahead and then let them know sort of what stuff we found.
Fair enough. Yeah, he would have expected you to call in that night after you talked to the dude. And Bradford is waiting for you when you arrive. And he's like, well, so what is it?
I look at Spencer. He would know better than I would.
Well, the papyrus is talking about some kind of gate. It's interesting. Talk about a battle between angels and demons, which could be the people that we've been researching into. Possible. Could be nothing. The gate. What was the gate's name again? I forget.
Shul.
It's called the Gate of Shul.
Bradford looks at you and squints a bit, and he says, "The Gate of Hell?"
What?
That's an interesting terminology.
Oh my! How did you know that, sir?
Oh, it's Hebrew. Any good Jewish boy knows about this. Bradford's not my real last name, but shul is another term for hell.
I look at Spencer and say, "I am ashamed of you, Mr. Translator, for not realizing this."
I've only just started to learn Hebrew. Tabby, I can't know every language.
Well, I thought you did.
So he's gonna take out the plaster cast. They also had this, which I asked Tabby to purchase. It has something to do with the golems, but I couldn't read it all.
Right. I will have a few of our people look at it. I mean, we don't have a lot of archaeologists on staff, as you can imagine, but certainly if we have a couple of people...
That seems odd. We sure have a lot that it comes up that we need archaeologists for.
He smiles and says, well, in this line of work, there's all sorts of weird things that come up. We do have a couple of people that can translate. I mean, one of them is Spencer. That's kind of why he's here.
Yeah, I mean, I can work on it in between my missions. It's fine.
Fair enough. But focus on this document. I mean, that seems like a side thing at the minute. Whatever this is about seems important enough that they called agents in to track it down. So there must be something more to it than just being a biblical tome.
Well, I haven't read all of it, but so far it doesn't have an indication of where this gate was or anything, but it might be further back in the book. I'll keep reading.
Okay. He says, I have utmost confidence that you'll be able to figure this out. And as he does that, and he says, I'll speak with you again later. And Bradford turns around and walks back into his office. As he does so, we'll have to find out what happens next week. And so, with that in mind, Webby, where can we reach you online?
Webby cannot be reached online. It is not possible.
Apparently. I caught him off guard.
I muted myself twice. Like, I went to go unmute, but I hit the button twice on accident, okay? You can find me on Twitter at JaxForestWalker. Yeah.
All one word.
All one word. That's right. And Devin.
You guys can find me on Twitter at DMP_Pookie and on Twitch at Poo Killed Me.
And Rob.
You can find me on Twitter at Confessor_X, which apparently John does not know, and on Twitch at ConfessorX.
It's only because you have a Twitch account that's not got it and your Twitter account which does got it.
Somebody stole ConfessorX.
Leave me alone. And M.
I am Emily, and you can find me as basically anywhere.
Oh, you want to say that again?
Isn't it Father Orange or Orange Father?
You can find me as either Father Orange or Orange Father pretty much anywhere on the internet.
There we go.
There we are. All right. And you can find me at LinsteadDM on Twitter. You can find everything we do at distractionsmedia.com, and you can find our series along with Fate of Heroes at Facebook at facebook.com/Fate of Heroes. And until next time, everyone, we'll see you later. Bye.
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 This has been a Distractions Media production. For more info, you can check out everything we do on distractionsmedia.com.
Did you know that Distractions has its own Twitch channel? You can actually find everything that we're doing and all of our various streamers at twitch.tv/distractionsmedia. Check us out, won't you?